We're in a 2014 Subaru Outback. I'm going to basically show you how to disassemble the vehicle. Go in for the column screws first. So, pressure on the sides of the column. I got it to pop. Dash. Can reveal a couple screws right here and here. Okay, now it looks like we can pull this all in one piece. To release all the plugs. One has a push tab to release. You want to press the tab and pull out on the plug. You want to force anything. If you got to force it, you're not doing it right. Use a pick tool. Got one plug that doesn't want to release, so we're not going to force. We're going to take a closer look. I think the detent has to be pushed in a little deeper. Oh, comes on there. Lucky that. There we go. Just had to push the clip in a little farther. One down here underneath. Diagnostic. That's your one piece. Alright. We're ready to work. We're going for the main harness. It's coming down from the ignition. We're also going to be draping a ring over this ignition. Going to do this job with a valet key. Far easier on the 2014 Subarus to use a valet key than to use a module. Few interruptions with a module and a lot of extra wiring. Plus, if you're going to use one, for example, Identilink ALCA, you'll need two. You'll need one to do the transponder bypass and one to actually unset the alarm and lock and unlock the doors. You can wire into the locks on this vehicle, but you cannot set and unset the factory alarm without using a module. Okay, next video will show you the installation. Okay, we're back in our 2014 Subaru Outback. I'm going to just show you where I've grabbed all the wires. The ignition harness Plugs in right here in the back of the ignition. I've unplugged it so I can get the wires easier. Hung it down and basically put my tabs here on the wires where it's going to be in this turn down away from the sharp metal here and everything. Also pulled our parking light, black with a white stripe, out of this harness next to it. And I've tapped the brake right here. It's got a module down here, brown with a white stripe. It's a corner pin right here. That tested positive when you step on the brake or when you push the brake. So we're going to use that as our brake signal. Done a lot of these vehicles. All pretty much the same, these Subarus. Next video we'll show you the wires and I'll go through the ignition wire colors with you. Okay, we're back in our 2014 Subaru Outback. I'm going to put in the PSO1 one-button remote starter. Pretty much see how I have everything set up in the harness. I'm going to be using a valet key in a box. It's a valet key. This is the transponder box. We're going to load it after we're done and we've made our first test. We're going to be connecting into the main ignition harness. We used our wirecolor.com card and we've looked up the vehicle. Great resource, awesome website, more data than anybody else in this business, I believe. That's wirecolor.com. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our install right now. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is connect constant power. I have 2 taps on the white wire, it's constant power wire. I'm going to go ahead and connect in both of our power connections. Okay, our next connection would be ignition 1, which is solid green. I'm going to connect that in as well. Ignition 2, which would be blue. We're going to connect that now. This vehicle has 2 starter wires, starter 1 and starter 2. Starter 1, white with blue. Starter 2, white with red. Okay, that's what they're saying, but we don't see that. So we're going to test for those. That is not actually matching up, so we'll test. We don't have that. We're going to look at probably the starters being white with black and white with green. So you know what, I'm just going to temporarily hook them up right now and we can check that. Our parking lights right here on our black with a white stripe. We have our transponder box hanging here. Still have our ground and our brake to do. We have the tack wire balled. You don't need a tack on this vehicle. It'll work tackless with this remote starter. And you can also put this in hybrid mode if you did have a problem. So what we have left to do now is to ground the remote starter. I like the reinforcement under the dash up in here. Good spot. Okay. Now, we're going to just test those 2 connections to make sure they are in fact the starter wires. We'll plug the ignition harness back in. Put a light on our wires. Connected the brown from the Crime Stopper to one of them and the pink with a white stripe. Okay, that is one. Okay, that is the other. What we have here, we're going to program in a second starter on the pink and white wire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times on the program button. You'll hear 5 clicks back. Then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to option 4, and we need selection 3. So we're going to push the brake pedal once, it's going to click once. Push it again, it's going to click twice. Push it a third time, it'll click 3 times. We now have selection 3 on option 4 set for second starter. I'm going to shut the key off, and we can test this remote starter at this point. Okay, to start it, I'm going to press a single button remote for 3 seconds. Okay, we haven't done the anti-theft interface. We still have the key in the ignition. What's left to do now is to put this ring around the outside of the ignition and to load the key in the transponder box, which I will show you. I'll press the brake, shut the vehicle down. We're going to go ahead and we're going to, our transponder box, 4 screws. Going to open it up. There's a loop in here. Just going to open this loop up so it can accept the key. The manufacturer these, they wrap the loop around, and you have to straighten it out so that it will accept the key. Okay. That's how it's loaded. I'm going to hold pressure on it until you get the screws down. Okay, one last screw in this corner. Now I will put the ring on the ignition. Somebody trying to call us here. We're going to ignore them for a minute till we get this done. Ring ignition is big, so we've wound the ring large windings here to keep it all behind where we have to go. We're gonna route it up this harness when we're done. We're not going to leave it anywhere where we can pinch. Now, I press the button. Should be at a remote start without having the key in the ignition. We have heat. It's a good sign. The vehicle's running in remote start mode now.